So we're back with our final part of lesson 5. And as a number of people mentioned, your CSS changes are often cached. So often you have to do a hard reload or open a private window in order to see your CSS changes. Many browsers cache them. So we added our ability to upload a file when we are adding, but we also want to modify this when we are editing a product. So we're going to go ahead and we're mostly going to copy the changes from create to edit, but we're going to do we have to do a few things a little differently. So let's go and open up our products edit view. And again, we'll maybe change the title here. We'll just say edit product on line 1 and on line 7. We can take out this useless H4 tag. And we'll need to make similar changes to the form itself. So on line 12, we've got this form tag. And again, we're going to need to add the encoding type of multi-part form data, this same attribute we had it on our create form. I've modified lines 4, line 7, removed line 9, I've modified line 12. We then need to make the same change down here on our input tag for photo. We're going to change this to be type equals file. The other thing we may want to add here is we want to check if there is an existing photo, maybe we want to show it. So the user knows when they're editing the product, what does the current photo look like? So let's see where we want to display this. Okay, we may modify this a bit, but we'll add an add if. Model.photo does not equal null. Then let's display it. So let's see what happens here. We'll see how this looks. We may need to modify it. So I've added the type equals file here to the photo input, and then we've written a similar if statement that says if there is a photo, to display it. I don't really know how this is going to look, but we'll try it. So I'll click edit here. That's probably okay. If there's no photo, then none shows. That's probably fine. So here's the code. I'll leave it up again. So we're basically then now going to make the same changes in the edit post method in the controller that we had in the add method, in the create method. We could consider putting it all in a function. Well, here it is. I'll put it in the chat. Yeah. Just check your syntax carefully. I guess we could move the code that we already wrote into a function, and then we could just call that function from both the create and edit. So once we've got this change in our form, and we can see the photo. I'll go back to the controller, and we'll maybe create a new function here. So let's think. We need so our function would need to take an iForm file in and return a string. Private, let's say string upload photo. So we'll create this new method. And I'll copy the code that's inside here, starting with the getting the temporal location and ending with the copying. I'm not going to do this part. That'll have to happen inside the method. Oh, this is going to be asynchronous. So sorry, this will have to be an async ASCII type string, I think. And then we need to return the file name. So all the code's still happening. So now I think we can replace the code in create and then also call it from edit. So here's the new method. We may have to modify it. I'll put it in the chat. So I've just copied the logic where we're creating and copying this photo and then returning the new file name. So in a minute, I'm going to go back to the create method. I'm going to replace the code that's there with a call to our new function. And if it's working, we can then call this function when we're editing as well. So I'm just going to comment this out for now and say if our photo is not null, upload our file name equals upload photo and pass in our photo object. Okay, sorry. The asynchronous code is tripping me up. So let me come down here and make this not asynchronous. I'm going to try the way I had it originally. We'll just call copy without a wait. Okay, I'm sorry, I'll put a new version of this method up. Kind of experimenting a little bit. I don't mean to confuse anybody. So we're going to do this synchronously. Saying we can mark this as static. Okay, that's fine, whatever. So if a file is uploaded, we're going to pass it to our function. We get the new name back and save to the database. So I've just replaced all of the code for uploading and I've just moved it into a function instead. So it's reusable. I'm going to try, make sure I didn't break the create. And if it works, we can then call this same function when we're editing a product. I will push to get in a minute, but I want to make sure I didn't break the function first. So I'm going to try it. I've got, let's see, we've got mango. Mango, $1.99, 250 grams. Produce, and I'm going to browse and select my mango photo. Okay, still seems to work. That's good. So now we can call this same function when we're editing a product. So just like with our create, we have two edit methods. We have a get that displays the form with our current product, and then we've got the post that does an update. So we're going to make a couple of changes to the method header. This should be around line 144. It's the HTTP post version of products edit. So like we did in the create, I'm going to take out the photo property from our bind, and I'm going to add it as an iForm file instead. So photo is no longer just a string. It actually represents a file upload. And then inside of our try here, before we update and save to the database, upload photo, if any. So if our photo does not equal null, we're going to upload the new photo and grab the name. And again, set our product.photo. So now the code in the edit and create post methods is pretty much the same. We're going to call this reusable function and then grab the new name of our photo. So again, here's the little if statement that we're going to run before we update and save. And we move this photo parameter out of the list of bound fields, and it's now represented by this iForm file. So I'm going to try and edit a product now and see if I can add a photo to an existing product. I think we should be good. I will push to GitHub in a minute, but I'm going to try it out first. Okay, so this is the new part in our edit post method, along with our new parameter in the method header. I'm going to give it a try and see what happens. I'm not 100% sure. I think it looks good, but hey, we're going to try it out. So I want to edit my croissant. There's no photo here. I can pick and save. Cool. Now, what happens if we change an existing? So let's say so it shows me a croissant. I pick something else. Does it actually change the photo? Yep, it does. So now I can set it back to the correct picture. Yep, Manjinder, I can show you the code. So I'll actually take this code out. Everything that's commented, we'll just simplify it. So if we have a photo, we're just going to set the file name equal to our upload. Not right now, Scott. I don't think so. I'll probably leave that for now, but I'll put these changes up on GitHub. Upload photo on edit. Alex, good question. There isn't a simple way, the HTML, because we're just using the built-in file dialog box. This is just a built-in HTML command. There are ways of doing it, but it's probably beyond the scope of our class. So we'd have to look into that. There isn't a simple way to enable it, unfortunately. We probably need to use some other file upload mechanism other than a simple HTML dialog. Okay, so the modified version of this is now on GitHub. So we've got a function, general function here that we can call from both our create and edit. In both post methods. Okay, so we've improved this quite a lot. If you think where we left off last week, we've got sorting, we've got currency formatting, we've got our default sort order of A to Z, we've got a little bit of bootstrap striping, we've got photos showing up and file uploads. Okay, if it doesn't display properly, then the issue may have to do with your image tag here on the index. Again, you can check your code with what I have on GitHub, because it's all uploaded now. So let's look at doing a little more sort of site-wide customization of the layout and design here. Okay, so how do we personalize this and make this more of our own site? So we can kind of theme this a bit. So there's some resources we're going to use here in the lesson 5 folder. One of them is going to be, I want to add a Google font. So I'm going to go here, the fonts.google.com. I'm going to pick a font I like and change the default font of the site. I don't know, you could pick anything. Kind of like this one, this Nanum Gothic. So I'm going to click on it. And if I scroll to the regular 400, if I click select this style, it gives me a link to put in the header and then a CSS rule to put in our style sheet. So I'm going to copy this link, Google font link, and I'm going to put it into the header of our layout file. I'll go to my layout, up here in the header, I'll add a Google font. So this should change the default, and then I've got to go to my style sheet and change the default font family to Nanum Gothic. So I'll just copy that CSS rule. I'll go back to the site style sheet. And there is no font declared, so I'll just declare in the body, I'll add it to the body tag, that Nanum Gothic is going to be my default font. So now my font has been changed. There. Sorry. Thank you, Alex. When I set my settings so when my developer tools are open, Firefox doesn't use my cache. Yeah, you can do Control F5 as well. Correct. Okay, so I've changed the font. Let's maybe figure out some colors here. So I like using this site, a few other links here. Let's go to the material palette. So this is a Google design tool. I'll open up my material palette. And we can pick a couple of colors that go together. So you can pick any colors you like. I think for a food shop, green is a good color. You know, kind of we think of freshness and produce. You can pick any colors you want. So maybe I'll click on this teal. And maybe I need a complementary color. What other color should we use in the store, maybe besides teal, that goes well with it? I don't know, maybe a gray. So if I click on these, if I choose any two color swatches here, it gives me a palette with some different hex values. Yeah, you can use indigo, you can use whatever you like. Okay, maybe hang on, we'll see, we'll try teal and indigo. Except I want the teal to be first. Okay, that works. So now we can use some of these styles as our defaults. So for example, if I want to use this indigo for our buttons, if I click on this color, it copies the hex value. So if I go back to our site, maybe I want to use that indigo anywhere there are links or buttons. So I can override some stuff here. So our links, I'm going to change the color. I'm going to change the links to use that indigo. I'm also going to change any buttons with the class of BTN primary. I'm going to change that background color as well. So I'm going to make my buttons indigo. So I'll save those CSS changes. And now my button gets that kind of indigo color instead. Products. Maybe I also want to change this alternating background color to something from our palette. Maybe I want to use this kind of light green. So I'm going to click on that, which copies it to my clipboard. And I can create a class for that table striping. Let's go back to our CSS. And we can override the table striped body for table rows. It's the nth of type 2n plus 1. There's our class. And we'll set the background color here to that new hex value. Now, whoops, that should be background color. So this should give us that light green color instead of gray. We'll try it out. So now we get the teal. I also want to maybe use like one of the darker green colors in our nav bar. So we have a light nav bar, but we could change it to be a darker nav bar, which I think I'm going to do. We'll play around. Let's see. Let's try this. I'm going to change my layout. Notice we've got nav bar light. I might change this one. Well, I guess we could just override the nav bar light and see what happens. Maybe we'll change it to from nav bar light to nav bar dark. So I'm just playing around with the bootstrap classes, just experimenting. And I'm going to change the links from text dark to text light. So our link should actually be white. And here also I'll need, I think, text light. And then I can override this nav bar dark class with one of those green classes. So I'm going to override nav bar dark and set the background color to maybe this one, the primary color. So I'm going to copy this one. So this should make my header, our header green with white text, I hope. Maybe not quite. That may need a little bit of work still. Let me just experiment. Why didn't this work? This is me in CSS. Add style to, and I'm not very good at it. So Mara's saying add it to navbar brand. Right, so I could add it here, so. But still the background should be showing up and it's not. Got to figure out why. You said it's navbar dark. Oh, it may be, I've got to remove the BG white. This is why. There's a white background here. I think that might be my problem. Well, that's part of my problem. So this link shows up. So I will I may have to play around with this. on my own time. I won't take up more of your time. So nav bar dark, or background color. Oh, sorry. Yes, this should be, actually, I think with a comma. There. There we go. Thank you. Yeah, I just need a comma. So now this is starting to look like our own site, right? We've customized colors. I could deal with it, make these links white as well, quickly. So in our views and shared, in our login partial, again, our links show us text dark. So we could just change those from text dark to text light. So I'll modify all those links, changing them from dark to light. So now they're white. The other thing you can do, I'm not going to do this right now, but I put this link up on Blackboard and you can use it if you like. You can also find color combinations through the Adobe Color Wheel. There's also a free logo maker. So you can go here. This is for non-commercial use. So you could create a design. We don't care how it works. You can pick the colors. You can pick from icons here. So you could pick an icon, you can color it, add it. You could make a little global grub logo if you wanted to. I don't think I'll do it right now. Oh, maybe I can do it super quick. I don't know. Let's make it. And I could add some text. So we can't really see it. I could try to go and save my logo. Alex, I'll show you boot swatch as well. So I could download a low res file here. See what this looks like quickly. We won't even see it because it's all white. So if I could add this logo just into my root images folder, I'll just paste it in. And I could try and replace it in my layout instead of my global grub text. I could just put an image here. I don't know how this will look. Might be crappy. Okay, it's a little big. I probably want to shrink it. I should change the font. I'll fix that up before next week's class. So now I've even got a little logo. Oh, okay, sure. Class equals logo. God, it's nice to have such smart students. Oh, I'd have to, oh, we could try thumb. That's better. Okay. So you could make a logo. I should probably put a comment on my homepage here. And then Alex, I'll answer your question and then we're done. I'll go to views and home. And I'll maybe say royalty-free images from, and I'll put a link to where I got them. And I'll give a credit to the logo maker site as well. Logo made at So I'm just putting some notes on, giving credit to the resources I've used. And the other resource here was Bootswatch. These are themes you can download that override the default Bootstrap classes. So if you want to add one of these themes, you would just download the minified version and overwrite what's in the project. So then you'd get some different color font combinations. And you're free to use Bootswatch if you like. Yeah, so again, good starting point. Yep. Yeah, there's some nice themes there, and it's free. Again, if you use Bootswatch, just cite it. Yep. You can even do your own, Alex. You could download Bootswatch, a theme from Bootswatch, but then customize it. Okay, so you could use things like the material palette. No, this stuff is free, but you should cite it, just like I've cited it here. Now, right? I've cited where this stuff is coming from. So these kinds are the kinds of customizations you can take to get your standard scaffolded project and make it look like something that's your own. So I'd like to see you do some of these things in your project so I don't get 30 projects that look the same. Don't use this color scheme. Find one that you like. Make it your own project. Okay, so our site's coming along. We're getting there. So our next step, what we're going to do next week, is start working on the security piece of this. That'll be done over 2 lessons. In lesson 6, then in lesson 7, we'll have our midterm, we'll have reading week, and we'll resume with security in lesson 8 after reading week. So assignment 2 is due next Monday. So if you need help with it, then send me an email and I will do my best to help you. Okay, I will push everything, the last changes to Git. So custom design. So everything we've done today is available for you on GitHub.